my coffee up to temperature yet?
God, your life is so luxe.
It is. It is. I gotta.
Has my mug told me that my coffee's the right temperature yet?
Is it ready to drink? Is my mug?
I'm gonna close the door to keep the cats out, and then we can kick it off.
All right.
Oh wait, we're already live. What the hell? What's up, Adam? How's it going? Good thing I wasn't tubing. What the hell?
I wouldn't have let you. I would have warned you.
After a few moments.
I mean, I
shocked for a second.
No, or enjoy it, you know.
No, Adam, there is a slight delay, so coming on back. Rolls is subscribed for 15 months.
Yeah, man, he's a beast. I love him to death. I appreciate that.
I've been doing this for this long too. That's 15 months.
Oh yeah,
longer. I know.
This is year 4 coming up. Like we'll be hitting 4.
Really?
Yeah, we started in 2018, man.
Oh my god. It's good fun.
This September will be year 4.
And we've got 4 fans, so 1 a year.
Gives us, that's how it works.
Rolls. Come on, you are our number 1.
Your foundation, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on, buddy.
We're letting it smooth in. It's got that
Other
music.
people hear that music?
Yeah, they all hear it. That's the best part.
Right,
It's background music for everybody, and I turn it off as soon as
All right, gotcha.
We'll get going here. Let's see here.
I feel like I'm playing that coffee game that came out a while ago where you were like
Coffee Duck. Speaking of, that's a good starting story. We'll talk about that.
It's so chill, right? Like it's just like where's my cappuccino? Just hanging out, doing some work. Joe's getting his shit together. I've got my shit together. We're good to go. You can see in the background there me putting together the campaign for PAX East, grabbing the models, putting together your characters. 5th level, Joe. You guys are going to be pretty strong on 5th level with this cavern. I know.
Let's go.
How do you feel about a Tomb of Horrors death trap, though?
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
man.
give you henchmen to go in there with. Is that?
That way we can send henchmen into the tomb.
Like a Gary Gygaxian sort of thing, where you're like, just go check out that hallway, and there's some screams and death, and then you figure out how to get around the trap.
You got it. I'm excited. Let's roll these credits for these
Let's
folks.
do it. Rock and roll.
Let's roll the credits here. Welcome to Mid-Geek Crisis, everyone. Welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 170. I am your host, your miserably depressed but visually happy host, Joe. Welcome to 2022 as usual, and we are, version 3 of the simulation. We can go through this.
We just keep rebooting it worse and worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am Pedro Cautious Online.
Just know that as soon as flying spiders actually are a thing, not just a meme or a random story. When flying spiders happen, we know we're definitely in a
simulation. Aren't they just parachuting? Right now they're just parachuting.
They're just parachuting. The system can't program that much. It takes too much resources.
Hey, the flying spiders will fight the Japanese wasp and go up against the fire ants from down south. And
there we go. But they will all be taken over by the zombie spores. You know,
there's now zombie spores.
Yeah. You've heard about that, right? The zombie mold that takes over like insects, and so like you'll see these insects moving around, and like there's no body, like the body's been eaten out, but the body's still moving,
like controlling it like a mecha.
Yeah, exactly. It wires it in these half eaten bugs or just like they're just zombies.
Everyone has this fantasy of surviving the first wave of the apocalypse, and I'm
no,
just
but
like,
we've already proven.
go.
We've proven
No.
toilet paper took us out, buddy.
It's been an okay run. Y'all can survive that second wave. What's up, Chance? Thanks
What's going on, Chance?
Roll says, bad enough we have flying cockroaches. Seen them, hate them. Funny story in there. All right. We got flying spiders.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We haven't. Yeah, we've got parachuting ones. They're not actually flying. I'm telling you that the code, the Matrix doesn't have the code and the resources yet. We're hoping it doesn't upgrade its processor.
It overwhelms the servers.
It overwhelms it. Flying spiders is way too much.
And
way too
screaming people, right?
Yeah,
that's how the spiders get in your mouth. It's real bad.
Oh man, how's your week been, man?
Flying cockroaches are the worst.
Really
it's not flying cockroaches bad for the record.
No,
but, it's another week in the books.
So we've got
working and preparing for PAX, so I'm in good shape.
Oh man, I'm so excited! We are
like 15 days away.
15 days away. 15 days to PAX. 15 days to PAX. That's I'm excited.
We arrived in Boston.
Before the show started, or before we rolled the credits, we were talking a little bit about coffee and the music that was playing, and a story that I forgot to bring up, and I had posted about it prior. And this is kind of it's a sad one to start it, but let's put this.
We'll start sad and then build from there. Is that
like so the Coffee Talk, the game Coffee Talk that you like?
Yeah, I remember
the creator, Mohammed Fahmy, this is what his name was. He passed away 9 days ago. 32 years old.
That's so young. What happened?
No, they haven't said cause of death. I've read somewhere along the lines that it might have been he might have been fighting cancer of some sort, but that was the image that they put up. And
that's a real bummer.
It is, man, because this is one of those games that kind of it's one of the newer indie games, indie darlings, right? Like it's a game that's very different than other.
Weird. It's interesting. Yep. The only gamey part was the coffees, and that wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
But that's wow, 32 is so freaking young. That's oh man, that's a bummer.
It is a bummer. It stinks, especially when one of our own passes away so young, and they probably had so much to give still, right? Like so many ideas.
Yeah, you're right on there. That's Chance. That's awful. It's a brutal way to start the show. Go out and play that game though. If you haven't played Coffee Talk,
and so that's the best thing I can say is go pick up Coffee Talk. If you know what, I'll play the trailer here since we haven't.
Sure. Is it still on Game Pass or did it come off of it? I can't remember.
You know what? It might still be on Game Pass, but
that's how I wound up playing it. It's a neat little game. It's like a conversation simulator. You know how there's walking simulators, but this one you own a coffee shop. People come in, you make some choices, but really, it's about hearing their stories and making coffee for them that they enjoy.
Yeah. Let me see here if I can.
But it's got a weird, like Shadowrun vibe, right? So like you're a coffee shop in a world where there's orcs and elves and demons, and good, you've got the Game Pass still. Chance, rock it out. We're talking about the Xbox One, not the PlayStation One or the Nintendo One.
So it's a text-based game, right? Like a lot of text. It's more story. You're a barista. You got to make coffee and kind of like set the mood for some of these characters.
It was that indie pixel, good look to it.
And then the game part is actually making coffee, and you're trying to like get the right flavor for the individual, and
and like they'll change their needs. Also, you can create art, which I was terrible at, but you can, like, these people are doing actually a really nice job. I was not. Here's another foggy swirl was my coffee choices. So
yeah, it's just a beautiful game. Again, we've talked about it a little bit on the show prior, but I love the pixel art. It's very clean, good music, very chill. It's supposed to be that lo-fi feel, right? You know, that
even the music was pretty lo-fi, right? It was yeah.
So yeah, go check it out. I'm pretty sure it's still on Game Pass or not. It came out on consoles and other ones on and there you go. You can pick it up on.
Why does it feel like it was like?
So it got released in 2020 on PC and all the other like itch.io and GOG and all the other PC storefronts, and then it got released on console mid last year.
Yep.
So It was a little longer to get on the consoles, but it's out there. So go check it out. There's multiple ways to play it. And yeah, again, go buy it if you can. Go buy it. Support the developer's family, that sort of thing, since, he passed away. So, anywho, speaking of things that are dead in the water. It's horrible. I know. I'm so
transition.
Yeah, transition.
Okay.
Morbius.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I don't know how folks are feeling about this film, but I'm reading all these reviews, and I texted Joe because he's my comic book guy. Joe goes opening weekend, or he figures out how to see a movie opening weekend, and I was all like, yo, I just what's the deal with this film? Like, why is it getting such bad reviews? All right, Chance is saying the greatest Marvel movie of all time, but we all know that Chance has terrible taste, right? We've all established that. In our canon here on the show, Chance is not the guy you go to for movie recommendations.
Man,
is it that bad, or is it just people hating on Jared Leto, right?
Well, Jared Leto. So here's the thing. I'm gonna play the naive individual. I am not a big celebrity person guy. Like, I don't read a lot of celebrity news unless it takes place about Marvel or things like that. Then I'll read some news. But apparently, I had no idea that Jared Leto has multiple, and I'm talking multiple with a capital M, allegations against him of all sorts of creepy and underage solicitation and all of that, especially when touring with the band, because Panic at the Disco.
Oh, he's a dirty groomer, is
right? That... he's got 14 and 15-year-olds screaming at his concert, and he'll apparently groom them or something. There's all sorts of stories, and I was like, no, this can't be true. And I was reading, and there was multiple stories from multiple different. 30 Seconds to Mars. Thank you. Not Panic at the Disco. Thank you. 30 seconds. Thank you. 30 Seconds to Mars.
Look, everyone corrected you.
Yes, thank you. I always forget that. I don't know why I get the two.
I think Dan and Chance only tune in to correct us.
To correct me, and then I appreciate that. I definitely want to get the right information. Yes, at 30. I don't know. 30 Seconds to Mars. Panic at the Disco. There's something about the wording that just. But
no,
anyway.
There's no.
Yes,
it's in the way wrong place.
Look, man, don't argue with the ADHD brain. There's categorizations that go on in there. It's all messed up in there. But anywho, so I didn't even know about that, but I only read about that recently because I was like, maybe it's the Jared Leto hate. You're right. Maybe it's all the hate.
That's what I thought. Everyone hated him from Joker, so yeah. Plus 100 XP for the Well Actually squad. There you go. Panic at the Disco is
Disco is great.
Pretty sure.
I don't actually have any problems with both of them.
So it turns out Jared turns out to be a jerk and is terrible in comic movies. Is that?
Oh man, apparently, but he keeps getting work. So that's the weird part, is he keeps getting work. And he tries to be a little avant-garde about everything. Every role that he plays in, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to play the character and I'm going to be the character that he is. It's all the creepy stories that we heard when he was playing Joker. You had all these stories that he would prank people and he would really act like the Joker while on set.
He was dig really into it.
Yeah. And everyone was just kind of ugh, God, we get it, dude, but chill. And yeah, I think I don't know. I'm gonna play the trailer for this thing again and just
we're gonna watch this trailer again.
No. I'm just gonna put it in the background here so that we can
so people
have
can
something to talk about. This movie, it is. This is the final trailer that came out, and this movie just the trailer felt like a hodgepodge of pieces of a movie. From the reviews, I think you and I have read many of the same probably reviews where they're this movie really tries to be another Venom. It really wants to be Venom without the popularity of Venom, right? I don't know. I haven't Chance, and I'm not judging it.
No.
I am not judging it.
And usually Joe's pretty good about not judging a movie by its cover.
Right. But I have been reading. I don't tend to read reviews, but there was a lot of scandalous reviews from individuals that I do follow online that I are pretty reputable sources, places, guys that we it's definitely the We Have Venom at Home vibe. And they say that the movie doesn't know where it's going. It's got lots of issues, and Jared Leto just chews the scenery, and I don't know, man. He's not supposed. He shouldn't have been his own movie. You're right. He could have been a supporting character for something like Blade, or maybe
in the second Blade movie, but not the start.
Or brought him in and maybe done what is it, Midnight Suns? The done a whole dark Marvel. They could have brought Morbius, and they brought in Doctor Strange could have been right there on the forefront with all of that. I mean, obviously Sony has the rights to this one, so we've never seen.
To Blade?
No, they have the rights to Morbius. I don't know why.
I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean?
They have the film rights. There's certain characters that they have film rights for.
And I get that. I'm just like, where does Morbius even sit in the Marvel universe? Like,
I don't know. Like his first few appearances were within like the Spider-Man universe. Like he
fights Spider-Man, but he's not right now in the Spider-Man movies.
He's a
Spider-Man villain. Yeah,
he's a Spider-Man villain. He started off as Spider-Man villain, but then he became
then somewhere in the 90s we decided all our villains need to be heroes.
Yeah, right. So like there was definitely like let's make him a hero and a villain, and then he started doing team ups, and he was like, teaming up with Blade or being a Blade villain, and then he would be in Ghost Rider, and he would be.
Does he play vampires? Is Morbius not
right? But he's what is he? The living vampire, right? Isn't that the tagline?
Is he the Drizzt of the vampire world?
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's just a mess. He's definitely
misunderstood dark elf who's come on.
Yes, he's 90s try hard. But anywho, besides
I think you're right, Brandon. It was the ultimate April Fool's joke, millions of dollars. Yes.
Now it is again, aggregators like Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes are always like, but this is the 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's I, Frankenstein? Because that's my level of comparison for bad movies. I, Frankenstein is what, 5%?
I, Frankenstein?
Yeah, put it I, Frankenstein. Drizzt was cool though. No, Brandon. No. I mean, yes, Drizzt was cool when we were 13, but now you're like
5%.
5%. Okay.
So critically it's still lower.
it's still better than I, Frankenstein.
Yeah, but a 38% audience score. What's the audience score on it's getting a 70 on the audience. So I'm interested.
Right. People are bringing it back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Frankenstein ruled. Battlefield. So, all right, Kit Fabo, thanks for joining Battlefield.
Yeah, what's going on? Oh, let's take a look. Battlefield Earth.
That's 17. No, 20%. 20%. That's what I'm going to say. Battlefield Earth. 20%.
Yeah, I don't remember. This is it was 2000.
It's so old.
Oh, 3. Oh, that is a pretty. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah, that was. It is considered.
Well done, Kit Fabo.
Yeah, bravo.
Finding a new bottom of the barrel.
That's bad, and I can't. But yeah, when it comes down to the Marvel, it is now officially the lowest ranked or the lowest reviewed Marvel movie. Obviously not Disney Marvel, but Marvel movie in general. And so I don't know what that says. I don't know what Sony's going to do with that. They really wanted to like build on this. I mean, he makes references to Venom in the movie.
Like Venom 2 wasn't that good.
But it wasn't bad either. It made its money back. And
the first one was like right in the middle, and the second one, it wasn't good. It wasn't bad.
I enjoyed the first one. I have no real problems with it. I mean, it's hard for a character like Venom to carry a movie by himself. Again, these are characters that should not be leading characters. These characters never started in their own book. They were characters that came into a Spider-Man book and then they got their starting book that only got
Deadpool was a character that started, right?
No, he started off in an issue of X Factor. He was an X-Men character.
He started off with,
and then he got his own book. But I'm saying is like a lot of these characters, these comic book characters.
Right, you're right. I go astronaut go. It's easy for Tom Hardy to carry a movie.
Right. Well, I mean, Jared Leto, man, right? Can't he carry a movie?
Correcting you again. It was New Mutants, not.
Yes, you're right. It is New Mutants. God damn it. X Factor, New Mutants.
Hey, Chance, you want to host this show? I don't.
Yeah, you got. It was the 90s. There was an X book for everything, wasn't there? Like there was X-Men. There was the X-Men. There was the classic X-Men book back in the day. There was just the New Mutants, X Factor, X Force. Oh man, anything back in the 90s. There was so many books back in the day, so I can't keep track of them.
Kip Falbo says they need the right director. Taika Waititi was with the goal to make them as a meme. Like
you're right. So
a good goal would work. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, when you get a character like that, that's just essentially you're able to make fun of the character, but and kind of enjoy it, But Morbius was just Sony really wanted that like dark universe, dark.
This
I don't
is
know
not the timeline for dark movies.
Also,
folks.
like, I don't know what they were doing, but April 1st doesn't really scream, let's put out a dark vampire movie.
But isn't April where you dump your movies? You dump your movies that you don't think are going to do well. You're hoping people go.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because we're getting Sonic this Friday, and it's review wise, early reviews is already pretty good, man. Like
pretty good. I'm excited for that one. Brendan says somebody needs to buy the Valiant Unity universe. That would be an interesting pickup. Yeah,
the Valiant universe.
Who owns that? I'm curious. Someone out there must already have the movie rights for that.
I don't know. Probably Hasbro or something. Paramount tried.
Maybe it's so broken up because they have like owner.
Yeah, Kit, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Paramount tried to do that a while back with the Mummy. They tried to do that the Dark Universal Monsters universe, and that didn't go well at all. So
wait, that's different from the Tom Cruise reboot?
Well, that Tom Cruise reboot was supposed to be part of it. Was supposed to be part of this new, like, they were going to do like all of the old monsters,
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, all of those were going to get movies again, and they were going to like find a way to tie them together and do some sort of like cinematic universe.
Interesting. I think it used to be, but the pandemic kind of completely rewrote movie release dates. This is true, right? April used to be a dump month. I think the loser movies are more going straight to streaming. Yeah, we were. Yeah, the past pager probably may have said something like that, but we don't know what we're talking about anymore. I also think maybe like a big streaming service like Disney Plus can do that. They can dominate by throwing out big movies on their streaming service and putting out big movies in the theaters in their own particular way. They should buy more indie author projects. We can get more literature RPGs, portal fantasy, comedy actions. Yeah, I mean, I feel like streaming services are what's picking up that kind of indie stuff and putting it on the side there, right? Those are called B movies. Yeah, I know. I was there for the B movies. I was there for straight to videotape, not even straight to.
I mean, you weren't a fan of Iron Eagle 7, on VHS? Man, my dad would rent those like
Ninja Warriors 3. Come on.
Yeah. You'd get like American Ninja 5, and
5 is the best one. Are you kidding?
What is it? Bloodsport, right? So Bloodsport had a few of them, and then
Bloodsport 2 was not very good.
Kickboxer got a couple sequels after Van Damme. My favorite is they brought in what was the actor's name? He played Cody. He played the really dumb cousin on the sitcom Step by Step. It was a
deep cuts.
Step by Step. I'm gonna pull up the actor's name.
Yeah, exactly. And they'd have like 16 boxes of Kickboxer 27, right? Rolls. And Jim Cotta. Wow.
Sasha Mitchell.
Go, Jim Cotta. If you get a chance, folks, go watch Jim Cotta. It is a
it's a cinematic marvel. Look, I'll show you how my brain works, right? So I know a character. So I typed in Cody from Step by Step, which gave me this guy. So it was this guy. It was this like bro-y, like
sure.
This guy was actually he actually was a martial artist, and he was in Kickboxer in one of the Kickboxer sequels. It's like he played Van Damme's
is
brother.
His real name Cody Lambert? Or
no, his real name is Sasha Mitchell.
His real name is Sasha Mitchell. So Brandon Brown was very close with Sasha Martin. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. This is cracking me up. I tried to watch Ice Pirates the other day. Speaking of old, unwatchable films, and I couldn't get through it. I've fallen asleep. I couldn't do it, Joe. Could not do it.
You couldn't do Ice Pirates?
Almost unwatchable, the beginning of it now. Sasha Martin is stacked now. Yeah, that picture of him looked pretty fierce.
Sasha Mitchell. Yeah. No, let's pull up a recent picture of him now. I'm sure he is, because he was always like a martial artist. He definitely was a. It looks like here's a picture of him on. Here's a picture of him on, I guess, a podcast.
I get to see what Joe is looking at off camera, and definitely we're on page 2, Joe.
Let's see if I can find him. So we'll just it looks like here's an interview with him. Was it some?
With Sam Shepard, retired Sam Shepard.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know, in the corner, some podcast or whatever. Either way, look at it. Yeah, you're right. He's pretty ripped, and that's pretty cool. Look at that.
Yeah, those are guns.
Yeah, he's got some guns. Yeah, but he was always a martial artist and whatnot. So that's why they picked him to do the role. But he also had like a he played a character that was just kind of like the California kind of dummy surfer kind
Did
of
he
dude.
play that in Kickboxer, or was he?
Yeah, he played in Kickboxer 3 and
Yeah.
4. So Kickboxer 3 and 4. I
Those are the
remember.
ones to watch, y'all.
I specifically remember that movie because the beginning starts off with him like going to find like, and they show they show the flashback of what happened to his brother, which is Van Damme, and they show him like walking out of a nightclub or whatever, and like some guy just guns him down in an alley.
Oh, nice.
Like in the dark, that obviously it's not Van Damme, but they like just shoot him and he just dies. It's like, oh, he's murdered. I'm like, oh, so I'm here to revenge my brother. I'm like, man, what a way to like kill Van Damme's character. He's like such a badass character. He just like walks out of a like nightclub and gets shot.
That's definitely a way to write someone off there.
Yeah, he just wrote him off.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh man.
There was one episode where Al goes to a club and then he beats a bunch of dudes at the club. Is that on Step by Step? Really?
Really?
Yeah,
that was my Poochie, the Poochie arc. Yeah, just like oh my god. Find the club. Oh my god. Yeah,
that's
man.
Anywho,
that's
all right. So let's put. All right. So we started.
No, we don't repath the track, the path that we took. We're too far in. We've branched out. How we made it here, we do not question.
Right. So we got to make sure to talk about Moon Knight. Did you see it?
Or yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I freaking did.
All right.
We
could talk about that at some point. We should warn folks if they have not seen it, there will be spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week that we were going to try to make it the show. Like we'll talk about the last episode. The new episode comes out tomorrow, so I think by Tuesday when we air this show, talking about the previous week's episode isn't too far of a stretch.
We just say spoilers, right?
Folks, yeah, spoilers.
Okay.
So what do you think?
It was great. Kit Fabo says I liked it. I mean, like, I'm intrigued. It's obviously like they're not revealing everything in the very first episode.
No.
I don't remember enough about Moon Knight to even make guesses. Yes, we're talking Moon Knight, Chance. That's what we're talking. And I dug it. There was enough mystic magic thing going on there that I was like, okay, I'm on board for the next episode. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but I want to know more. So much more than Boba Fett.
So I also don't remember. I chose not to go back and go into a deep like comic dive to learn the character again, because then it just burdens me.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I know he's a character that's had multiple origins and multiple characters have played Moon Knight. So I don't know them enough. I think, and again, Chance is probably going to correct me on this. I think that this character is multiple of the personas that have played Moon Knight rolled up into one character. Like Mark is one, and then he's the new persona, the kind of the wimpy accent persona that he's got. His brain is obviously like creating these personas to kind of
maybe. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I thought he was just possessed and this magic.
Well, I think he is possessed, but also like
body
before the end of the show, you're kind of, again, spoilers. He finds the phone and he realized that he obviously had another life, and there's someone looking for him. And but what's also interesting to me, have you noticed that he calls his mom, but his mom never answers? It's always a message.
Of course.
Yeah. Who's he talking to? Like, his brain is like totally messed.
He's not talking to anyone. Yeah.
Talking to anybody.
Yeah, he's got multiple personalities.
Yeah,
that's where they hinted at that with the Ennead, right? The Pantheon.
Yeah.
Has traditionally had DID, that's multiple personalities, right? Disorder.
Yes.
Moon Knight has a twisted and rewritten origin as Hawkman.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. He's so Hawkman has also had multiple kind of renditions depending on which reboot of the DC universe you're talking about, and what new character and who's wielding the at one point Hawkman was just a guy with magical wings, and then it came to find out that they're Thanagarian, and now they're like space, and there's all sorts of like weirdness.
10,000 years, they've got all sorts of weird things going on.
Yeah.
Hawkman's DC though, right? Am I thinking of a different
Hawkman?
Yeah,
okay. DC. But right. Hawkman is very similar to Moon Knight in that like they're Egyptian, like they really tie from that Egyptian.
Thanks for jumping on. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm curious as to how they are going to use that inspiration, right? But be cognizant that they should also be respectful of that. Right? So Obviously back then it would have been appropriation if we graded it today, but
Right.
like it looks like they're going to try to incorporate it in a way that is
Yeah, it looks like they like
not just
and again,
magic.
what's his name? What's his character's name? I mean, Mark is the other persona that they're looking
I've
for.
already
But
forgotten.
yeah, I forgot what is it. Steve? But
Steven, right? Steven, because he keeps correcting the
Steve,
other.
right? So Steve, Mark, and then Moon Knight, I guess, or the the god that's I always forget the god's name too. He mentions it. Anyway, what's interesting to me is that you've got these three like voices in his head, so far, two plus him, and
Khonshu. Thank you, Chance. So you nailed it. Right there.
Khonshu.
And, it's only revealed to me, I think, because of the subtitles. The subtitles at one point.
Because the things get
said
so quickly, but they're already kind of saying, oh, well, look at this. He's talking about these gods and all of that. And so a lot of that stuff you can fact check, and there are like things. So it's all based on actual culture, which is nice. And it does seem to me like he gets mad. Like, for example, in the museum scene, he's like, what is this? The kids can't learn from this. What are the jelly beans? They didn't even have these back then. I understand his way of
also,
I'm a museum
I don't want to get a job in Britain because it looks like you can't get fired. I don't. He's like always late, always messing up, smarting off to his boss.
Yeah, again, here's one of those moments where
this isn't in America because
I don't know how many days off he got, but obviously he like blacked out, and it was like 3 days later. Were those 3 days off? Did
he not show up to work?
Did he not show up to work? Apparently, he showed up after all that big blackout, and he was just like, "Oh, welcome back" or whatever, and they didn't say that. Oh, you missed work. You're fired.
You're fired. And my wife and I lived in New York City for a long time because when he walked into his apartment, we were like, "This guy works at a gift shop."
Yeah, it makes that. Yeah, it's so funny. I do that all the time, though. I do that all the time.
What is going on?
Anytime they show that the quirky barista that works at the bakery or whatever, and they pull up and she's got like that one loft apartment with like the whole
like high ceiling.
What was it? Hawkeye. On Hawkeye, obviously she's rich, but she was also trying to like live, by having a job and whatnot. And like she lives
in a whole diner in the space behind it, right?
She had like the whole upstairs of this building, and she had like a the loft and all of that, and giant windows.
It's like archery range. That's like
yeah.
A whole other...
what would that cost? What would something like that cost?
Custom apartment.
Well, a Moon Knight's apartment. Like if you were looking at that real estate that he had in that one room.
I mean, I don't know what London prices was, but in New York City, that's like probably $8,000 a month, easy. I mean, it was just one room, and maybe because his bedroom.
Well, yeah, it's that trendy one room open.
One room for the warehouse. Yeah, that's like $8,000 a month, easy.
Jeez.
Which he's not making as a gift shop clerk.
As a gift shop.
Museum.
What's going on?
My mom specifically asked what time we were on.
Yeah.
Brandon's like, I'm way behind. I haven't finished Loki, haven't watched Eternals, Hawkeye, or Moon Knight yet. So, Brandon, you're never going to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, you can catch up if you want to. You have to put some time into it. That's if you want to, but there's no forceful. I would say, out of all the ones that you listed there, watch Loki. Loki was so good. I loved Loki a lot. I know that.
I liked Eternals, and I think all of those are great.
Eternals
I haven't seen.
I have a lot of problems with Eternals. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Hawkeye was great, but Hawkeye might be one of those shows that you don't need to watch now. You might want to wait for Christmas again.
I don't know how it fits into the new arc.
Yeah, there's no.
Eternals I get, Loki I get, Moon Knight I get. I don't understand how
Hawkeye really doesn't explain much other than resolve one single tie-in, which was the end of Black Widow, right?
Yeah, is Arc 4 going to have a new Avengers? Is that so? Like, there's going to be is that the pillar?
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Bring the other characters together. I'm so cute.
I'm curious what they're doing.
It just like the comics, Brandon. I'm with you. Way too many covers.
Yeah, but like when you say overdoing it, you're right in the sense that like one form of media, but comic books are supposed to have comic books are like books, right? Like by saying that they release too many books, you can't really do that. Comic books as a company, and they're releasing Doctor Strange is supposed to be like a cult and weird, and then you've got your capes style comic, and then you've got your mystery style comic, and then you've got your comedy ones. And
right, so you've got like Wanda, that's a cult. You've got Moon Knight, that's a cult. You've got like is a wizard. He's a cult, even though he could also be a wizard. Right?
so this time around, this phase of Marvel, you know that they've been leaning into that, right? They've been leaning into the multiverse and the occult. And you're right, they might be overdoing it with that much, but they're introducing characters that they didn't introduce before, right? Like if we were going to look back to phase 1 and phase 2, we got all the capes, we got all the like the Iron Man and the Captain Americas and the serum and the all of that, and then we got a little science with Ant-Man. Right at the end there, but it's not really, that's more of the comedy, the case.
Besides the fountain of youth that fucking Paul Rudd drinks from.
Yeah. But I think this occult side is just there. You're right. Loki and WandaVision and Doctor Strange, all of those are related, but they're also tying together, right? Like if you've seen the new trailer for Doctor Strange, is you've got Wanda in there, so all of these characters are supposed to be tying in. Where Moon Knight's going to come into play, my speculation, again, I don't know. Moon Knight might come in with what is it, the Black Knight, and maybe Blade.
Right, because the Black Knight, spoilers, is in Eternals.
Is in Eternals at the end of Eternals. So yeah, and you're right. Never enough comics. I think the whole point is there's supposed to be a flavor for everybody, and Marvel likes to keep it going, and that's how the comic books are, right? You're supposed to be able to walk into a comic shop and look at a wall of comics and go, I'm in the mood for this because he's my favorite character, or I'm in the mood for this.
Most people walk into a comic book shop and are all like, what the hell is going on? Right. You're overwhelmed by it all. So I kind of get what Brandon is saying. And also, I also get what Jay Lopez is saying.
Chance, I've had this rant before on this show where everyone's like, I can't believe Disney has the rights to Deadpool. My vision of Deadpool and a Deadpool movie in the Disney universe would be exactly that. It would be, here's a character that knows his whole shtick is breaking that fourth wall. And if PG-13 movies, you get that one F-bomb, he knows it. And so in his head, his inner monologue is like, I'm going to save that one F-bomb. And like through the entire movie, he's trying to like push the ratings to make it a rated R movie while he's doing his cape or whatever. But the wall that is the movie won't let him break it.
He's going to fight against it.
And like he's saving that F-bomb for the perfect moment in this movie, and he accidentally uses it on something that totally like is like absolutely bad, and he's just like, no, that would be the perfect way.
Look, Dan actually called it before you said it. Well done, Dan.
Oh, the credits roll or whatever. He's like, oh wait, I forgot to use my, and then it's like credits roll, and they're like, no, that would be perfect.
So good. Go Astronaut Go says Moon Knight is kind of Daredevil or those guys' levels if they're going to keep Charlie Cox around. All right. See?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've already shown that he's around, and he is still Matt Murdock. I mean, he is a lawyer and caught a brick in Spider-Man.
I'm excited to see that whole pantheon, that whole group of characters on Disney Plus now.
Defenders or whatever street team you're going to call it. I'm excited for that. Let's see. Just do what Team America World Police did, make a dirty cut, and then, yeah, right. Yeah, you can totally do that. Disney could totally do that. Maybe in the early
they can just cut things enough that you get by, right?
Chance, you're absolutely right. I mean, Moon Knight was one of those characters where he was early Moon Knight was very street level and kind of like not part of the Avengers. But then in the recent books, they've elevated Moon Knight to more of a like way more powerful character than.
I mean, Spider-Man used to beat up muggers in alleyways, right? And now,
But I mean, Spider-Man was always that like, hey, I'm strong enough and more, and I've got the ability to be an Avenger. But no matter what, he always gets like cut down or bumped down. Like Marvel has the whole like, let's abuse Peter Parker and make sure that he never like really gets anywhere in life.
Because he's from Queens.
That's the way it works. Yeah, right. Spider-Man has always had the power. But the writers will never let him be like a galactic character. Like he'll show up in like Secret Wars and all of the big plot lines and have a story. But then by the end of it, like they'll kill off his aunt. He'll lose his job. He loses his wife. He loses all of a sudden everyone hates him. That happens all the time. And that's exactly what Disney just did with Spider-Man, right? He was Tony Stark level of like intellect and like had access to all of the Tony Stark money and tech with his aunt and all of that, and all of a sudden by the end of this movie they just like wipe it. So now he's like stitching his suit at the end of the movie. I mean, he's literally.
When you start to really unpack the Marvel universe, though, how many super geniuses can there possibly be in that world? right?
Right, but they won't let any of them even stick around, right? Like, so in the Marvel universe, when you talk about the super geniuses, it's Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Peter Parker, and then there's a few other ones out there. The big
Bruce
ones,
Banner, Ant-Man.
yeah,
I mean,
Bruce
like
Banner, Ant-Man. Right. There's a lot of them.
Go
And
on and on and
supposedly,
on.
yeah, we can go on, and a lot of them are the super scientist geniuses. Reed Richards is supposed to be one of the higher ones. I mean, the dude is like, you know,
Intellect level 10 out of 10.
Yeah, right. Whatever. Let me flip my Marvel Masterpiece Flair card real quick and look at what power level he's on compared to all the rest of them. Yeah. But depending on who writes them, it's how smart he is, right? It's power of plot. That's how comic books are.
When you start putting them all together in movies, you can't have them all be the scientists.
Well, that happens in even the team books, right? Yeah.
Cho, McCoy, too. All of them.
All of those. There's so many.
Like, there were so many in the Marvel universe that I was like, maybe I have a chance of being a super smart genius.
Right. Well, Cho was interesting about Cho. What is it? Amadeus Cho. He's a newer character. He's more of the recent, like in the aughts and onward character that just got introduced because we didn't have enough, heroes of color. I mean, here's an Asian character that we didn't have any representation. So yeah, we got him, and he's smart, but he was the Hulk at one point. He took over the powers of the Hulk, and so they gave him. It just happens. It just happens because man. So like Amadeus Cho is definitely one of those characters. Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. It's, Tony Stark and Cho. But I mean, that's the way he's written now. For a long time, Reed Richards was considered the smartest, but after Fox got the rights,
two bad movies.
Right. You make enough bad movies, Marvel will cancel your book.
Why are these movies good, right?
Exactly. Marvel will be like, you know what, your movies suck. We're just going to make sure that we write you out. I mean, they did that with X-Men, right? As soon as they wouldn't get the rights to X-Men or whatever, the books went away for a while. Like they just like, we're gonna write them out. We're gonna make them like yes, there was things going on in the background of the comics, but Marvel really was like, we're not even gonna like put any emphasis on these characters. We're only gonna sell the books of the characters that have movies,
which is a shame. The new Moon Knight takes place after that, and it's really good. So this particular series hasn't really mentioned the Snap. Hasn't mentioned, like, there hasn't been any tie-in to the general Avengers universe yet, has there? Maybe I missed it when watching it. Like, we
haven't seen any pulls yet, any thread pulls. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it does take place, but obviously there hasn't been like every other show. There's like the newspaper clipping
in the background, or there's a therapy group.
Where were you? Yeah, exactly right. Speaking of the Snap, just not off topic, but just kind of on the side. There's like dissertations and stuff about the science of the Snap. Have you seen any like topics on this?
No.
So just one that made me laugh was like,
where are you hanging out, Joe?
Thanos did the Snap and wiped out not 50% of humans, or it was 50% of life, right? So what was it? Someone wrote the 50% that was still alive actually spent the next 3 years like pooping their brains out because half of their like gut
bacteria
biome, half of their gut biome were destroyed. It's
like, yogurt, dude. What the?
I was like, what? It's like all of these randomness, Also, the idea that when the Snap came back, you had people that showed up right where they were. So you had birds show up and all of that, but all of a sudden, one of the things that you didn't see like half the plant life die. You didn't see half of the, these things. Birds and animals were kind of insinuated when the Snap came back, but like you had people that were like in buildings or whatever that weren't there, and then they
destroyed,
and then they come back. What are they, just stuck in concrete? Like, where are they? It's like just threads and threads on the science of the Snap, and I was like, oh shit! Don't think about it too hard, man.
Dude, like you think, like you scratch the paint off when you think about it too hard. It's
like, oh man, you just show up. You're like, I mean, that they showed that where like all of a sudden you come back and you're in someone else's house. You're in someone it's no longer your house anymore. That sort of thing. Right. Those are understandable.
It was like 5 years, right, between the Snap and the.
Yeah. I think it was 5 years. Yeah, it was a 5 year difference. Either way, it's an interesting take.
Kid Fable, you're not lying, nerds, right? This is
absolutely.
The crisis is trying to figure out how the science.
Welcome to the show. Like, so speaking of nerddom,
said, why didn't he snap more resources there than 50% of the population? I mean, because he's Thanos,
right? Yeah. So I saw, you're right, because I saw one where they're like, so if he's so like angry about it all, not enough resources, he could have just snapped his finger and doubled the resources, doubled the size of the planets, made everything just bigger. That way, everything would have been ratioed to 50%.
And you wind up with a universe full of Texases, Joe, and we know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah. Oh, God.
If you've got more space and more resources, what happens?
I write bad sci-fi books, so I get it. No, yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to think about that kind of stuff all the time. You just want the answer, and you just hope that the public doesn't unpack it too much. But
that's what I find when I tell my D&D players at the table when they start asking very specific scientific questions. When they're like, "Well, how far away is this thing, or what time is it?" I'm like, "I don't know. That's the speed of plot. Everything moves at the speed of plot. Everybody, speed of plot. Like that's how fast it goes. Why are you asking?" So that's how you rock it out. You just gotta be like, dismiss that problem, and make it right. Yes, go astronaut, go. Thanos is in love with death, but not in the movies. But he still acts like that in the movies. It's fine. Shh, shh,
yeah, shh. Yeah. I mean, Go Astronaut, that's an interesting thing. I loved that arc. I wish they had touched on that a little more in the movies. Like I know that he's all about I bring balance, I'm all this, but I wish there was a more touching base on why he was all about this. Like who was he trying to impress? And there was always this he was in love with death. That was definitely because he was simping for death. I like that. Yeah, I mean, there's just I feel like there should be some definite some more backstory. I don't know. I don't feel like I know enough about Thanos. But then again, I'm sure in the reboots and all of that in 10 years from now, we'll get the Obi-Wan version of Thanos, where we'll get a young Thanos movie telling us what happens. Come on, it's gonna happen, man. Thanos, the Disney Plus miniseries, in 10 years.
So Disney Plus.
I'm not wrong. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen. They're gonna recast some of these characters with a whole younger version.
Like Thanos year one.
Yeah, Thanos. Yeah, right. That's exactly right. He was busy with Deadpool.
Oh my gosh, that would be so that's not an Eternals connection, but there was at the end of the Eternals there was
the Eternals and all of that, the Celestials. If you go read the comics, you'll see that Thanos is related to the Celestials and all of that.
That's all connected in that way.
They're all connected to it, but none of that connection was ever made. You might get that connection later. I mean, at the end, Thanos' brother, who was it?
Eros?
The guy that comes in at the end that's played by one of the One Direction dude.
The One Direction.
He's the anywho. I'm sure Chance will know it. Anywho, there's a tie in there, and I hope maybe they'll touch base on that. Who knows?
Eros.
Star Fox. Thank you. Eros. Yeah, Eros Star Fox. There we go. You had it right.
I was right. Thank you, Go Astronaut. I was like, somebody's gonna correct it.
Yeah.
Star Fox. Yeah, there we go.
Jonas Brother, One Direction, one of those.
Harrington. The Black Knight says, "Why didn't y'all do anything about Thanos at the beginning of the film?"
Right. No. Yeah. I mean, and of course they had to make sure they answer that in that movie. That movie has so many well, it's because I'm like, oh, come on, man. 50% of life got killed, and you guys were like, we can't do anything, but we've got powers of celestial gods. We could have. So dumb. Just wrong time for that movie.
Well, I mean, by the time it reveals at the end that they're programmed to serve these beings that are about destroying Earth, it makes sense. They're not about intervention. That's not what
what would have been
cool. They're not heroes. They're not programmed to be.
They're not programmed heroes, right? If they had taken this movie and made it done a time spot movie, basically made it. This all takes place maybe even before the Avengers and all that happened. That way, when all of that happens, and they get, some of them go away and whatever, and they go off and look for them. They're not on planet anymore. They're not there to deal with any of that nonsense.
We've already established that prequels do not work.
Yeah,
Thanos is a deviant in the comics.
You got to make sure he's purple. Purple is deviant, right?
Purple deviants, just like Drizzt, to bring it back for everybody.
All right. So speaking of bringing everything back, because Thanos miniseries will be back. Don't you can quote me on that, folks. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I knew about that. Where did I hear that?
A very special Thanos.
Yeah, very special Thanos. So we've got a relaunch or a remaster, or what are we calling these nowadays? Chrono Cross is out, and reviews are coming in.
Cross.
And I'm excited for this because it's a way to kind of own it again on the Switch. You'll get a physical copy. It also has some of the Radical Dreamer content that we didn't get here in the US. It was a Super Nintendo's what is it? Satellite. I don't know how to say it. But the satellite. There was a satellite service for the Super Nintendo that you bought a cart, and there would be like stories that would be told at a specific time. It was like streaming, and there was kind of like a Chrono Trigger sequel that told some things of what happened with Chrono Trigger, and so that was never out in the US. So this will be an official kind of release of some of that content. And so this is exciting to kind of see it, but reviews are coming in. They're like, oh, it's bare boned, it's lazy. Honestly, for this game, I really don't want them to touch it. Like I see here's a screenshot. It looks just like a PlayStation 1 version. I mean, unless they're going to go through and actually do a full remaster, but we all know they weren't. Like
they could do a GTA style Rockstar remaster, right? They could just
yeah, right, hand it off to someone else. I mean, there are some extra things, some elaborate pre-rendered backgrounds now look blurry and smeared is what they're saying. 3D character models rendered in high res stick out like a sore thumb. Combat often stutters and feels unresponsive. So maybe we'll get a patch for that. That's bad. That's definitely not something good.
That's bad.
There aren't save states, but there is auto-saving in the overworld. That's kind of weird. There's no option to swap graphical styles on the fly, so you have to kind of exit the game and change it, I guess. FMVs haven't always been upscaled cleanly. So yeah, so the movies and all that, which is, again, this is a PlayStation 1 title, so you're looking at 320 by 240 resolution, really small resolution. And the HD fonts are clear but look out of place. So yeah, I mean, I can understand that. Square is pretty infamous for these like half-assed remasters.
They're not charging a lot though. It's only $20 on the Switch. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, the Final Fantasy VIII remaster was also really lazy. It was barely a remaster. It was just enough to, I mean, they fixed Squall's face is pretty much the big one that they did.
I would pay $100 for a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster. That's what I would pay.
Oh, dude, just give me a Final Fantasy. Give me a Final Fantasy Tactics collection on the Switch.
The Switch? Oh my god!
Like Final Fantasy Tactics and the Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, all on one card.
Lions War? Is that the? Oh god!
Yeah, no, yeah.
I thought the trailer looked bad, but hoped it was unfinished. Yeah, Dan, sorry.
Yeah,
you retro gamers that hang out on this channel, you probably can show us how it should look on your Sony television. I remember playing Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross and having my mind blown by some Japanese role-playing games. So if you've never played it, it might be a nice way to interact with it.
So again, speaking of remasters and whatnot, and I don't know what this is. This is because we got a Monkey Island remaster a couple years ago on PlayStation and Xbox, on the Xbox and all that. But it looks like we're getting either more, so we're getting Return to Monkey Island.
All right. Very exciting.
I'll show you the trailer here. It's looking
Sounds
great.
Like an easy way to get 1,000 Chivo points.
I'm excited for this because I'm excited by who's involved on this. So let me go ahead and bring that on. This is the trailer released last night.
Hot off the presses, y'all.
Yes, Dan, Brandon McKellen.
Nice.
Devolver, baby.
Solid.
So I'm already happy about that. They treat their properties pretty good. So Ron Gilbert's Terrible Toy Box.
Ron Gilbert told me he'd never make another Monkey Island unless...
I assume unless they gave him a lot of money?
I guess so. As Guybrush Threepwood. So
he's coming back. That's great. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that was announced yesterday.
Noise. Very noise.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Again, all of those are, good nostalgia, good story arc, good point and click adventures, always funny, good music. I've always loved the music of the Monkey Island games. So yeah, that's coming out this year. I remember playing Curse of Monkey Island back in college after 9 hours straight. Almost peed myself. Stood up after 9 hours. Like, ooh, it all just rushed down, huh?
Yeah, I knew.
Oh man. Monkey Island. What else? What else we got? I think that's pretty much it. There wasn't been much of this news this month. I think everything is holding back a lot of the news, a lot of that, the big we've got a lot of shows and things that are coming out in May. Everything's holding back to E3 that is no longer happening. That might be one of the stories that we didn't touch base on. It happened right after last year. So E3 is officially canceled. That was definitely one of those stories. And yes, that was the joke, Chance, is E3 canceled.
I thought it was already canceled.
No, it wasn't already canceled. It was, they had announced this year again that they were going to be digital. But this time around, it's gone. Like it is 100% has been officially like canceled. There's no
forever, right? There's not going to be an E3 ever again.
I don't know. I mean, it just, the writing seems to be on the wall here. It just doesn't. I can't imagine.
Do their own things. There's no companies don't see the profit or return anymore on doing E3. Is what's happened.
Yeah, well, they realize that these big trade shows, while networking wise, all that stuff happens behind the scenes anyway. Like publishers will talk to developers, and all of this stuff happens no matter what. And then they're able to control the. I mean, you've seen marketing and worked with marketing and all of that. You know how this works. It's like it's always better to control that volume. Yeah, that marketing has, and that's what Nintendo's always been able to do.
Why
with
do you want to do your big reveal on Tuesday when your competitor does their big reveal on Wednesday and you've lost the news cycle? Why would you do that?
Right.
Why would you participate in that? It doesn't make any sense. You want to establish the news cycle. You want to break in at a point where, it's. Was about electronics and not video games, because there was a time period where electronics mattered, and now they don't. Chance, you play on your iPhone. High-level video games. That's what we do.
I mean, to be honest with you, the electronics, like when it came out, the E3 it was Electronics Expo, but the computers kind of took a back seat. They realized that they couldn't, the money that was being pumped into consoles was too great. And then electronics were like, well, we'll just keep releasing all of our stuff at CES now. We'll just talk about CES. So CES in January has been and will always be the consumer electronics show now. Video games and consoles and all of that will get announced at E3, or they won't. They'll just be announced in their own video. Sony will do it State of Play.
No, they'll do it on the Twitch channel. They'll let
Microsoft is the only one that hasn't really established a trade show thing, like a video, like a monthly or every 3 months kind of a news thing. They just haven't really done it. They'll announce things, but they are still
month. It's like every month.
Right. But they still haven't they haven't established like a show or a direct or something like that. Something that people can look forward to. It just happens when it happens. And it always feels weird when that happens. They don't get to lose. They lose a little of that hype. Because all the other companies are like, oh, we're doing a State of Play on Thursday. All of a sudden, no, and then the media and Twitter and all that goes crazy. Or Nintendo Direct next Friday, and oh shit, everyone's speculating and that. But Microsoft is like, we drop this, and it happens.
They don't want you speculating.
They don't want you speculating, but at the same time, it's good for them.
Speaking from a strictly business perspective, trade shows have become very hit or miss nowadays. I've made some great sales and connections thanks to them, but have also had a lot of tire kickers. Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're still worthwhile. And then Dan says trade shows are definitely worthwhile, especially for he works for a trade show company. You're a little biased there, Dan. A little biased.
No, I mean there's a place for them, but trade shows.
They can drop the comic part of that, right? It's just San Diego Con, right? It's about the event.
Right. But we are still confusing two things here, folks. A trade show is not the same thing as a convention. They want to act like they're the same thing, but they're not. E3 used to not be open to the public. E3 was media invite only.
E3 became a convention kind of deal, right?
It up until the past 10 years or so, like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, they opened it up to the public for the first time. So it allowed you to.
I don't want to talk about the before times.
I have to, because E3 became a convention, but it was always a trade show. It was always for media. So the only way to get tickets to these things is you had to be a member of the media and you had to apply. So
I know. I'm talking now, Joseph.
Right, but the now means that E3 wanted to become a convention. Like it became a convention.
I had to get a badge, and it was hard to check out the new Ataris at E3.
I got my first badge for E3 when I worked at Dell.
Yeah, that's what 1999.
No, it was 03, man. 03. Back off. I'm not that old. It was 03, 04. I got my first badge for E3, and that's because I was working in the XPS division. It was
03,
before.
04 is
Yeah.
20 years ago. 20.
How do I mute him real quick? Hold on, let me mute him. Let me mute his mic real quick. He doesn't get to talk about how long ago that was. Oh man. Yeah, I was a junior in 03. Yeah. Yeah, so I went to E3. It took very hard. You had to apply. You had to get you had to get a sign and get a letter.
In high school.
Oh,
What?
No.
Are you allowed to be up this late?
Is it past your bedtime, sir? No, what I was saying is E3 became became a convention because the amount of media hype that it created.
There was no other outlet for it.
But by the time, my point is that by the time it became a public opened convention, there was already other conventions doing what E3 did. Everyone just assumed that E3 would hold its status of being the place. But then you had things like Gamescom in Germany. You had things like Tokyo Game Show take over. You had smaller conventions, things like PAX West, PAX East. You had all of these other ones. You had GDC, Game Developer Conference, which is technically open to the public because you could just apply to go. Yes, it's a developer conference.
Video Game Awards.
You have, again, things like the Video Game Awards now that kind of control that media. And then you have things like YouTube where everything gets released. So E3 just...
I mean, like, PAX was built in, I don't want to say retaliation, but in response to how awful E3 had become.
Right. That's exactly right. That's 100% correct. The whole purpose of E3 was that Mike and Jerry used to go to E3. And then they even said, like, I'm not going to quote them verbatim because I don't remember exactly what they said, but I do remember them saying that their response to PAX was like, we wanted something like E3, but for all fandoms.
Yeah.
And to collectively celebrate geek.
Play games. It turns out the part I liked about E3 was the gaming, and that's what I want to do here. So
right.
That's what we want to do here.
Right.
The world has moved on, and E3 is now an artifact like the ET video game. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, essentially, E3 did not catch up. They chose to still be kind of the thing. And also, E3 was not good for developers. What was happening is, and again, and there are some developers in our chat, or if they're not here right now, they could quote me, but if you worked for any game studio, what was happening is E3 became a crunch thing. Like they had to have a demo ready for E3. Yeah. So what was happening is they would literally put aside the actual game development and only code enough so that they could have something to show on screen. And
nothing like we do now. Now they just release them and let you play them.
Yeah, right. And yeah, now they're just early access or they're just broken altogether. But my point is developers didn't like them. They didn't like E3 and they didn't like the way that the demos. Some companies, bigger ones could handle that, but smaller studios couldn't deal with it. Yeah. So now with things being not having to like jam pack a whole June with news, now it's a little bit this month, all the way up to the holidays, right? So that said, E3, rest in peace. I don't see you coming back. We can blame COVID as another death.
E3, maybe we'll branch out into a beautiful timeline where people just want to do conventions all the time just to hang out.
The joke on Twitter was that Jeff Knightley killed it, right? Because last year when E3 did this, they're like, oh, we're going to be doing games this summer and doing the game, doing their like online media blitz where like they can replace E3. And sure enough, as soon as they announced it, they're like, Jeff, what did you do? And he replied back on the actual E3 going, stay tuned. I was like, oh man, this guy's like, Video Game Awards have become, he knows what he's doing. I mean, as much as we hate and we laugh at the Video Game Awards, it's still like,
yeah, he's got the right amount of sponsors and
he is E3 now. He's basically a similar, I am E3 now.
Yeah, it's quite the spectacle. Let us know what you're playing, what you're doing, right?
Real quick, I got to touch base on this because the name of the episode responds to it, and
right,
I made the stupid thumbnail just because
you made the stupid thumbnail. Yes, go ahead.
I had to show it. Bop, there we go. I had to drop the GIF on there.
I can't believe you.
I had to do it. It was, what was your take on this? Like, first off, I didn't care too much about it. I think it was disrespectful. It was definitely not cool to do. I feel a little bad for Chris Rock.
Chance says no more.
Yeah, no more. It's done. It's done. That was it. I had to just make the joke once. The idea was
part of the joy of being in the Mid-Geek Crisis. We're going to talk about shit that people talked about already. Chance.
Right. I mean, by the time Tuesday comes around, the media wave is so fast. The blitz is so fast. It happens and it dies in like days. And so, like, by the time it gets to Tuesday, I'm like, oh, well, you know.
I don't. I don't care.
Neither do I. Neither do I. I will say that the response has been interesting. I saw today that like Netflix and Sony are pulling all of the Will Smith movies, and I was like, "Oh, come on!"
Yeah,
there's other ways of handling it.
They're essentially blackballing Will Smith. Yeah. It's Smith used a flat hand. That's right.
That's right. Bravo.
I think Chris Rock fucked around for a couple of decades and finally found out. I mean, I think I said that before, right? Like, if you get the opportunity to slap Chris Rock, take it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just take it. Here's an opportunity. You take it. I don't know. I think people are upset that their fancy moment of, I don't know, gravitas at the Oscars was kind of ruined. All of the news cycle about the Oscars.
There were individuals.
It wasn't about their movies. It wasn't about best actors. It wasn't about best actresses. It wasn't about best screenplay or best director. It was about Will Smith and Chris Rock. The whole news cycle. Like, I barely even know who won awards because this is all I learned from that news cycle.
You know, Questlove won an Oscar, man.
It hit a lot of old people's pockets. And I think they're upset about that.
We talked a little bit about it on the show last week, you know, after it happened, but I just thought it was hilarious that in the memes.
So, like, here, Adam's like, oh, but not Harvey Weinstein, and Chance says not Roman Polanski. I wonder what they are. I wonder what makes them different from Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Jared Leto. Apparently, he's got all of these allegations too. And
what's different about Will Smith? I wonder. It's yeah. Submit your ideas in writing so we can review them and hand out a prize. Chance, like, we know why everyone comes down hard on Will Smith and Chris Rock, and yes, there you go. Thank you, sir. Nailed it. So yeah, that's what it's about. No one likes that. You can't have that. It's nonsense. So I mean, whatever. Will Smith will bounce back and
he'll be fine. He'll be fine. To
be fair, the Oscars are pretty terrible in general.
Yeah. I mean, there's always problematic things about the Oscars.
People tune in when it's good. People tune in when it's bad, right? That's the thing about the Oscars. It's kind of like the Super Bowl. Even if you don't care about your teams, who's playing, who's going to win, people tune in anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought it was staged too, but I think it was, my response to that was that everyone, Chris Rock handled it as professional as you can. Like, he knows he's the host. I mean, he couldn't have reacted any other way. He kept his like decorum as best he could. He made a joke afterwards, like, oh, Will Smith just slapped me, like slapped the S out of me, and whatever. And there was a lot of like weirdness. Yeah,
you didn't watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was some composure, but of course, Will was yelling stuff, and then a lot of people thought it was staged because ABC, decided to like mute the audio at that point. But then we saw that other countries weren't muting the audio, and so we got the actual audio from that. And you're like, oh wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So anyway,
all right, so whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, I like what's Roll says, I'm not about to stop loving Independence Day, right?
No,
I'm gonna love Independence Day.
No, man. I mean, like,
welcome to Earth.
We had to old Hollywood, man, is weird. Like, we've got like Tom Cruise jumping on couches and like,
old Hollywood is weird.
And Will Smith is
Mel Gibson saying anti-Semitic things. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, we technically canceled him, but he was in a couple roles occasionally. Speaking of old Hollywood, I forgot to bring that up. I was supposed to bring it up earlier, but anywho, Bruce Willis announced that he is stepping away from acting due to health reasons. What was the thing that they said he had? It was the he's forgetting speech. I'm getting it now because I can't remember it. Yeah. Aphasia. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that person has lost 0 rolls and monies for being trash. Like he's gonna be fine. Yes, get the cover that aphasia. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah, Aphasia. So he's stepping away. So essentially he won't be in any new movies. I know, the joke can be said like, "Oh, have you watched some of his more recent movies?"
Yeah, was he even in the movies he was in the last
Yeah,
5 years?
I mean, he probably doesn't remember. I mean, that's the idea. Is like he. But my point is like he's a character that talk about old Hollywood and action stars and geek and all the things. I mean, name the roles he's been in, and like from action star to comedy to. I mean, he's been in so much that it's gonna be sad to kind of see that he's gonna pull off the the Sean Connery. Like quietly step away from acting. What is it? Jack Nicholson did the same thing. Like he doesn't show up. He doesn't do any new roles at all, and all of that. So right, but Dan, it is a language thing, but from what we've seen or what I've read on it's aphasias also can be triggered because of a stroke usually. They're not saying if he had a stroke or not, which can affect other parts eventually. Right now it just seems to be the aphasia part with the language, but the language part is also tied to the memory from what I was reading. It's just it can be a mess. It'll trickle down and cause all sorts of, which is why he doesn't want to do it anymore, because there's all sorts of problematic things that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. Get out while you're on the top of the game, or as best as you can.
Yeah, or you're absolutely right. I mean, so the expiration date of women in Hollywood are way shorter. When Bruce Willis could still keep doing it until he was 70, and they would have kept casting him as Bruce Willis. But actresses, women that were in their 20s, as soon as they got in their 30s, they just unless you're exactly
unless you're
right. So I mean, there are some,
but you're right. A lot of them have a much shorter shelf life.
Unless you're Meryl Streep. There we go. That's exactly right.
Yep.
No way. They apologize. Same age. Guess who? Yeah. No, that happens all the time. You're absolutely right. Actors are the same. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time, right? Like Tom Cruise makes a movie, and yet the love interest is like 30 years younger than him, constantly to this day. I'm sure Tom Cruise will be on stage in this new Top Gun movie, and whatever female, actress that's there that's going to be the love interest is definitely going to be young enough to be his daughter.
And just for the record, right? So go Astronaut, go. Thank you, go Astronaut, go. I didn't want to do it, but go Brewers, go. Meryl Streep is an alumni of my college, Vassar College. Go Brewers. So always happy that she's out there repping us in the movie world.
Oh, who's Aunt May in Spider-Man?
The new one?
Yeah. Come on, brain. It's late.
It's late, dude. I don't know. Fuck. I should know. God damn it.
Marissa Tomei. Thank you. There we go.
Marissa Tomei. Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can see
there
her
we go.
in my head.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, we're not talking baseball yet. Roles.
We'll get there. Roles. I know that for Game Pass, if you've got Game Pass and you've got an you're an MLB fan. I know the show 2022 just launched as well. So go check that out. You can play it free on Game Pass, or if you've got a PS5, you can pay $69.99 to play the game. So there you go. Got to rub that in a little bit just because I find it hilarious that it is a PlayStation Studios game, folks. But yeah. Hey, we are 1 hour 15. Thank you so much for joining us. Episode 170 here at the Mid-Geek Crisis. Wow, yeah, man.
Don't forget to join us on Facebook where we chat every so often about various things.
Yep, absolutely.
Follow the Afroman on Twitter because he sends out stuff all day long. Actually,
yeah.
Mid-Geek now, right?
Yeah, I'm just manning the Mid-Geek. So Mid_Geek Crisis is the account. You can follow us there.
Add to the Wordle thread. I think I'm going to change my starting word. Stern is no longer going to be my starting word, so y'all can guess the new one.
I tried changing it from Arise to Audio, which gave me a lot more.
Audio is a nice way to get a lot of vowels.
Audio is a good one.
Often my second guess if I don't get a good list for Stern. And lie about our Wordle score.
Lie? There is no lie, sir. Wordle is no. You don't lie. Moist. That's a good one.
Boo. Sometimes I see people who get this word in 2 or 3, and I'm like, these guys are cheating, right?
No.
How are they getting it that how are they getting from their first word to that third word so fast? And I realize it's because I suck at Wordle. is what I've come to.
Early enough for the day to talk about. Today's word was stupid because it was I got navel. Navel was the word, like the word that I got, and I got all the letters except the middle one, which was the V. So it ended up being Natal, right?
Yeah, but like,
Natal,
why would you even guess navel? Right? Why
would it say? Because I guess canal.
All right, so you do the A's and the L.
Yeah. So basically, it was a rise. I did a rise, and it gave me an A. So then you chose a word where I threw the A somewhere else, which gave me canal. A's and L's are kind of big, and then that gave me most of the letters. And anywho, it's you kind of.
Dude, I was wordling as you said.
Oh, come on. You can't be wordling at 9:45 when the word goes live at 12 midnight. I totally spoiled Dan already on Wordle. There you go. It's a freebie. You get a short score.
Should we put up there will be spoilers, right? It's your first day on the Mid-Geek Crisis. We are unapologetically jealously spoiling your shows, your life. Yes.
Get it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. On that note, I've already made Dan angry. He's going to get a short score. Ruined his score. No.
My starter word is worst in tribute to Joe. That's what I'm going to start with tomorrow. It's going to be worst.
Someone needs to just DM me the word in the morning. I wake up, check my messages. What? No.
I'm just going to use it in a sentence. You're going to be, that's a weird sentence.
Oh man. Yeah. Totally. All right, everyone go hit a thumbs up. Go thumbs up our Twitch and our YouTube and whatever else. And everyone, another episode in the can. Take care.
Be kind.